Welcome. It is officially police promotional season in the city of Columbus, Ohio. This is the information session for the 2025 Police Sergeant Examination. Please note, examinations in other cities and for other ranks may differ. This presentation is created to assist candidates for the 2025 Police Sergeant exam with the city of Columbus, Ohio. For your convenience, this information session will be posted on the Civil Service Commission website until the completion of the examination. Please take a moment to read the legal disclaimer. Let's first review the overall agenda. We will begin with an introduction, discuss the job analysis and examination development, go over candidate resources, give an overview of the examination and exam phases, discuss the results release procedure, and go over how to address any additional concerns you may have. The purpose of testing is to provide a fair, objective, and valid method of predicting which candidates will most likely be successful at the rank being tested. Test construction, administration, and scoring conducted by the Commission will be in compliance with the merit principles, the uniform guidelines, and the standards for educational and psychological testing. Competitive examinations are the mainstay of a merit system. Why we test? By city charter, the Civil Service Commission, or CSC, is charged with the duty of testing. It's the law. The law exists to ensure fair access to City of Columbus entry-level jobs and promotions. Our exam development is guided by merit system principles to ensure that individuals are hired and promoted based upon merit. Through the competitive examination process, you have the opportunity to prove you are the best choice to serve the people of Columbus in the role being tested for. For the examination process, individuals are put in the position to demonstrate their knowledge of the job and their ability to perform certain aspects of the job in the same environment for each candidate. This system also eliminates nepotism and cronyism. A valid exam is one that is representative of important aspects of the job. In general, the validity of an exam increases as the test more closely reflects the important aspects of the job. The exam phases are custom-made for police sergeants with the Columbus Division of Police. The phases are developed based on the job analysis with help from subject matter experts from the Columbus Division of Police. Subject matter experts help to ensure exams are accurate and of appropriate difficulty. In addition, exam consultants review the exams prior to administration. There are two consultants. One works on behalf of the Civil Service Commission and one works on behalf of the Fraternal Order of Police, or the FOP. The consultants have doctorates in the field of testing. These consultants will review exam materials and procedures to help ensure the test is objective, fair to candidates, and does not pose any artificial barriers to promotions, while additionally trying to facilitate the test validation efforts of the CSC. There are also steps in the process such as appeals and clerical reviews to make sure the tests are valid. The first step to constructing a valid test is to conduct a job analysis. The purpose of a job analysis is to learn about the job and determine its most important elements. The job analysis is used as the foundation for each exam. It identifies information that the Civil Service Commission needs to construct valid examinations. At least once every 8 years, the Civil Service Commission conducts a full job analysis of each position being tested. The most recent police sergeant job analysis was published in 2025. The results of the job analysis are documented in a job analysis report. The Civil Service Commission conducted a full job analysis for police sergeant in preparation for the 2025 examination process. Beginning in 2024, civil service analysts participated in observations, interviews, surveys, and technical conferences to learn more about the job, to determine the most important elements of the job, to use as the basis for the exam, and to validate the exam. Essentially, we build our tests from the information we gather during the job analysis. KSAO stands for knowledges, skills, abilities, and other characteristics. As a result of the job analysis, 15 KSAO categories representing important attributes to perform the job of police sergeant were identified. The identified KSAO categories are the following: knowledge of laws, practices, and policies, oral communication, judgment and decision-making, leadership, inductive reasoning, written communication, multitask, administrative tasks, resource management, crime scene and incident management, technology use, working with external partners, training, map reading, and physical ability. The exam being developed for this promotional process is being designed with the intent of covering most of these KSAO categories. Each phase will target specific KSAO categories. In addition to KSAO categories, the job analysis identified 9 task categories for the job of police sergeant. Those task categories are the following: supervision, patrol, control of scene, report writing and documentation review, investigations, training, internal and external relations, classifying situations, and pre-planned events/event management. While KSAO categories are a major focus of the development for the 2025 Police Sergeant exam, the exam is being designed to cover all task categories. Before each examination begins, a CUPA meeting is held. These meetings include representatives from C. the Civil Service Commission, U. the FOP or the Union, P. the Division of Police, and A. the Department of Public Safety or the Administration. The goal of this meeting is to address and remedy potential testing issues prior to test administration. The meeting for this exam was in November of 2024. The minutes from the meeting are posted on the Civil Service Commission website at columbus.gov/civilservice. We will reference our website throughout this presentation as it contains a wealth of information to prepare for the examination. After the CUPA meeting, the Civil Service Commission wrote a test plan report documenting the plans for the 2025 promotional exam. Candidate resources. The Civil Service webpage devoted to the Police Sergeant examination contains many useful examination resources. In addition to the CUPA minutes, a test guide can be found on the Civil Service Commission website. This test guide contains information about all phases of the exam. Areas covered include test formats, test-taking strategies, and grading methods specific to each phase of the exam. The list of materials that candidates should read and study to prepare for this promotional exam is compiled into a reading list. The reading list is available on the CSC webpage and will remain available throughout the testing process. Additionally, the Commission's website contains a link to the 2022, 2023, and 2024 in-service legal update source that are included on the reading list for this exam. On the website, we also maintain a listing of important dates for this exam. It is possible the planned important dates may change as a result of unexpected circumstances or events outside of the CSC's control. If an important date is changed, the CSC will notify candidates by email and update the important dates document on the website as soon as is feasible. A question and answer document is also on the CSC website. As CSC receives questions from candidates, staff members draft the questions and the responses and post them to the website. If after this session you still have questions about the testing process or procedures, contact our staff. If the answer doesn't already exist in one of the publicly available sources, CSC staff will answer your question and then update the Q&A document as soon as possible. If for some reason the answer that is drafted and posted in the Q&A document differs from the answer given to you initially, CSC will contact you to make you aware of the updated answer. This ensures that all candidates get the same response and have the same access to the responses to questions. If you are in need of a test accommodation, you may access the required forms to request the accommodation from the CSC's Test Accommodation webpage, which can be found on the CSC's Exam Info webpage. For promotional exams, the Civil Service Commission's ability to grant accommodations is limited and will be handled on a case-by-case basis. Timeliness of the request is a factor. Contact CSC staff as soon as you know you will need an accommodation. The Police Sergeant examination will consist of 3 phases. Phase 1 is the closed book multiple choice exam, Phase 2 is the written work sample exam, and Phase 3 is the oral board exam. Each phase of the exam is equally weighted at 1/3 of the overall test grade. A cut point, also known as a hurdle, will be computed after Phase 2, the written work sample, and will be discussed in detail later in this presentation. Examination dates and locations. Be sure to read all admission notices carefully to be sure of your test time and location. At this time, the examinations are tentatively scheduled as follows. Phase 1 will be administered on August 12, 2025, at the Police and Fire Testing Facility, 1111 East Broad Street, Columbus, Ohio, 43205. This is also known as the Jerry Hammond Building. Phase 2 will be administered on September 3, 2025. If there are 135 candidates or fewer, testing will take place on computers at the Civil Service Testing Center at 77 North Front Street, Columbus, Ohio, 43215. If there are more than 135 candidates, Phase 2 will take place at the Police and Fire Testing Facility, 1111 East Broad Street, Columbus, Ohio, 43205, utilizing pencil and paper. Phase 3 will be held at 1111 East Broad Street, Columbus, Ohio, 43205 on October 21st. If for some unforeseen reason the dates are changed, candidates will be notified via email through the admission notice. Be sure you check your email before the examination for specifics. This chart illustrates which KSAO categories are being targeted by each phase. An X means the category will be targeted, an asterisk means the category may be targeted, and a blank means the category is not being targeted by the exam phase. A double asterisk indicates that while the KSAO will not be directly tested, the exam may be administered on computers if space permits. Please review this chart to better understand what to expect from each phase. The individual phases will be discussed in greater detail in the next part of this presentation. A document listing the KSAO statements that fall under each category is available on the Police Sergeant Exam webpage. Phase 1 is the closed-book multiple-choice exam. This exam will assess a candidate's knowledge of information contained in reading list sources determined to be important to the job. It will also be designed to cover all of the task categories discussed previously in the job analysis section of this presentation. A document containing definitions of the task categories is available on the Civil Service Commission Police Sergeant Exam webpage. The exam phase was designed based on information learned from the job analysis. During the job analysis, the sources are identified and rated according to importance by Division of Police Personnel. These ratings help determine the focus of the exam content. More items are drafted than needed for the exams. This is so that weaker questions can be discarded. Prior to the review by police personnel, items go through 2 levels of review by Civil Service Commission staff. After the review by police personnel and prior to testing, the FOP testing consultant and a testing consultant working on behalf of the Civil Service Commission will review the final versions of the exam. Police personnel rate the items according to importance and job relatedness. The ratings by police personnel help determine which items will be included on the exam. Here is a breakdown of the approximate number of questions from each source to be included on the multiple-choice exam. These numbers are based on the importance ratings from the job analysis. The sources which are included on the reading list are the following: the Division Directives Manual, the Arrest, Search, and Seizure Manual, the Supervisor's Manual, the Patrol Subdivision Standard Operating Procedures, the 2022, 2023, and 2024 in-service legal updates, the 2023 through 2026 FOP contract, and the Emergency Operations Manual. Refer to the Commission's website for the official reading list. The legal update source is available for download from the Commission's website. On test day, you must be on time. Give yourself plenty of time. Once the instructions begin, we do not let anyone enter the exam. Bring your driver's license to the exam. Your Division of Police ID is not a valid substitute for a driver's license. We must verify your identity and that you have a valid driver's license as part of the minimum qualifications for the exam. No electronic devices, such as phones and smartwatches, are permitted. The test monitors will collect any electronic devices brought into the test room. You will be permitted to bring lidded beverages, such as bottled water and coffee, into the test room. Phase 1 is a closed-book, multiple-choice exam. That means that sources are not permitted. Please do not bring any reading list sources or a dictionary to the exam. Multiple-choice information. Please check your admission notice for the exam time. All questions on the multiple-choice test are equally weighted. There is no penalty for guessing, so if you don't know the answer, you may guess. During the exam, you may write in your test booklet. At the beginning of each section of the exam, there will be a written statement letting you know which source the questions were written from. For example, the written statement might state that questions 1 through 15 were derived from the Division Directives Manual. The proposed response time for the exam is 2.5 hours. Multiple choice tips. Make sure you are on the same number in your test booklet as you are on your answer sheet. If you plan to attend appeals, you should circle your responses in your test booklet. Candidates will be given their test booklets to use during the appeals process. They will not be given their scan-enabled answer sheet during the appeals. Answers circled in your test booklet will not be scored. Only answers you mark on your scan-enabled answer sheet will be scored. Additional time will not be given to complete computer answer sheets. It is recommended that you complete the answer sheet as you answer each question. If you finish early, you can take the remaining time to check your answers. The test guide is a useful resource and contains many test-taking tips. Don't talk about the test in the restrooms, even if you have completed the test. Exit the room after you have completed the exam. Do not congregate near the doors to the testing room so that you do not disturb others who are still working. The dates for the multiple choice appeals are August 13th, 14th, and 15th, 2025 at 1111 East Broad Street, and the hours are from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. each day. Please bring your driver's license or photo ID. You are permitted to use hard copies of the sources that are on the reading list. However, no laptops or other electronic devices are permitted. Candidates are not permitted to take notes during the appeals process or write in any of their source materials. The purpose of the appeals process is to provide you with an opportunity to review the answer key and to appeal questions you believe to be flawed. The appeals process helps ensure an accurate answer key prior to scoring. When you come to the appeals, you will be able to look at your test booklet, but you will not have your answer sheet. Remember, on test day, you may mark the answers in your test booklet to assist you during the appeal process. Appeals are submitted to the subject matter experts anonymously. Multiple appeals from different candidates are grouped together by question number. The appeals are reviewed by Division of Police personnel in the rank of sergeant or higher. Police personnel make a recommendation for each question based on the merit of the appeals. The results of the appeals determine if a question should be rekeyed, deleted, or kept as it is. The Civil Service Commission reserves the right to make a final determination regarding appeals. Generally, subject matter expert recommendations are followed. This process is outlined in the FOP contract. If questions are deleted or rekeyed as a result of the appeals, they will be deleted or rekeyed for everyone who takes the exam. Here are some do's and don'ts for the multiple choice appeals. Candidates are permitted to stay as long as they wish between the set hours of 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. each day. Non-electronic sources may be brought into the appeals room. During the administration of the appeals, candidates will not be permitted to talk to each other or use communication devices, such as cell phones. Electronic devices will be secured by CSC staff upon check-in. If you need to take or place a cell phone call while you are at the appeals, you must leave the appeal room before doing so. A separate appeal form must be completed for each question you are appealing. Notes written during appeals may not be taken from the appeals room and should only be written on the appeals forms provided. Do not write in your source materials during the appeals or bring notes to the appeals process. Candidates will not be permitted to congregate in the hallways to discuss the exam. Candidates are not permitted to bring anyone to help with the appeals. Appeals are to be done independently. Candidates are not permitted to work with other candidates to complete appeals. Multiple choice paper inspection. The dates for the paper inspection are October 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, 2025. The location is 1111 East Broad Street, and the hours are 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. each day. For this part of the process, candidates have the opportunity to compare the final revised scoring key to a copy of their answer sheet for accuracy. Candidates are to notify civil service staff immediately of any errors so they can be verified and corrected. Candidates are not permitted to use sources, laptops, notes, or phones. During the administration of the paper inspection, candidates will not be permitted to talk to each other or use communication devices, such as cell phones. Any changes to a candidate's score as the result of the paper inspection will only affect that candidate, not the entire candidate pool. The results of the appeals will be posted in the room so candidates can see what questions were deleted or rekeyed. Phase 2 is the written work sample exam. The written work sample will be administered on September 3, 2025. The written work sample is an open book exam. Candidates may use all sources from the reading list, including a dictionary. Candidates may bring physical copies of their sources to the exam. The dictionary and all personal sources must be non-electronic. If the exam is administered on computer, the CSC will provide electronic copies of the reading list sources. The CSC will not provide a dictionary, even if the exam is administered electronically. The 2025 Police Sergeant Test Guide provides a wealth of information. Most of the general test date information previously discussed will also apply to the written work sample. Subject matter experts in the rank of sergeant or above will be used during the development process. Exam pilot testers will be in the rank of sergeant. Feedback from the pilot testers will be used to make any necessary adjustments to the exam. The targeted KSAO categories for the written work sample were reviewed in the job analysis section of this presentation. In addition to the KSAO categories, 8 of the 9 task categories will be tested in the written work sample phase. Those task categories can be seen listed here. As mentioned previously, documents containing the task category definitions and the KSAO statements within each KSAO category are available on the CSC Police Sergeant Exam webpage. The location of this phase depends on the number of candidates who take the multiple choice phase of the exam. If there are 135 candidates or less, the exam will be administered using computers at 77 North Front Street, Columbus, Ohio, 43215. If that is the case, electronic copies of reading list sources will be made available to candidates on the computers they use to take the exam. As mentioned previously, an electronic dictionary will not be provided on the computers. Candidates will still be permitted to bring a non-electronic dictionary and physical copies of reading list sources if they prefer. If there are more than 135 candidates who complete the multiple choice phase of the exam, Phase 2 will be held in the same location as Phase 1. If the exam takes place at 1111 East Broad Street, test takers will be provided pencil and paper to take the exam. No sources will be provided to candidates. Candidates should bring their own hard copies of reading list sources and, if they prefer, a non-electronic dictionary. The exam admission notice will provide all the necessary details regarding the location of the exam. Due to the number of candidates, multiple sessions will be needed at either location. Candidates should prepare for a sequestering period. The written work sample is still under development. The response time has yet to be determined. It is estimated that the response time will be between 3 to 4 hours. The written work sample will contain 3 exercises which may or may not be related. This exam will be in a written open response format, which will differ from the multiple choice exam. There will be 2 response periods for the exam. The first response period will be for the first exercise, and the second response period will be for the 2 remaining exercises. You will not be able to edit your response to the first exercise during the second response period. It will be up to you to determine how to distribute your time and attention between the final 2 exercises during the second response period. You may use bullet points when writing your responses. Bullet points are short statements that do not need to be complete sentences. You will not be graded on your grammar. However, graders must be able to decipher what you're saying in order to give credit. Though you won't be graded on grammar, you may be asked to identify grammar or misspellings as part of an exercise. Be sure to respond using the correct response sheets. For example, your response to Exercise A must be written in the pages of the response booklet labeled for Exercise A. If an exercise has multiple questions, your response does not need to be labeled by question number to receive credit. Your response only needs to be written on the corresponding exercise pages of the response booklet. If you do not follow directions, you will hurt your chances of getting a good score. It is recommended that you bring a highlighter to the exam so that you can highlight key points and important words in the test booklet. Whether the exam takes place on computers or pencil and paper, you will receive a physical test booklet if needed. Only the response booklet will be on the computer. If the exam cannot be administered on computers, pens, pencils, and scrap paper will be provided. You may bring comfort grips to use on our pencils or pens, or bring in your own pen or pencil. Be sure to write dark enough so that your responses are readable after being photocopied. The Civil Service Commission analysts will be responsible for scoring the exam. Graders will receive training prior to scoring the exam by the civil service analysts who develop the exam. The exam will be graded using a checkoff style key. If you have the correct responses, you will be given credit even if the responses are not in the order of the key. Candidates will receive credit if at least 2 out of 3 graders determine they should receive credit for a key point. Analysts are familiar with the division sources. However, please be aware that there may be terms or abbreviations that graders may not be familiar with. When in doubt, spell it out. Conflicting responses to a question will not receive credit. For example, if you state, "I would not discipline an officer," and then also state, "I would discipline the officer." In that case, you will not receive credit for either response. The date, time, and location is the same for both the clerical review and limited appeals. They are scheduled for October 22nd, 23rd, and 24th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at 1111 East Broad Street. Attendance is optional but recommended. During clerical review, you will be given the opportunity to review the scoring key with your answer sheet. You may petition for additional credit if you have an answer on your written work sample that matches the key and you were not given credit. If you believe that you were not given credit for an answer on the key, you are to fill out a petition form which will be reviewed by subject matter experts. All subject matter experts will be from the Columbus Division of Police and in the rank of sergeant or above. The subject matter experts will make a recommendation regarding if you should or should not receive credit for the petition. However, the Civil Service Commission retains the right to make the final determination. In most cases, the Civil Service Commission follows the recommendations of the subject matter experts. The limited appeals are scheduled for the same dates and times as the clerical review. For the appeals, you may only appeal to have items on the scoring key removed. Appeals to add items to the key will not be accepted. To submit an appeal, you are to fill out an appeals form which will be reviewed by subject matter experts. All subject matter experts will be from the Columbus Division of Police and in the rank of sergeant or above. The subject matter experts will make a recommendation regarding the merits of each appeal. Any item removed from the scoring key will impact all candidates. The Civil Service Commission retains the right to make the final determination regarding appeals. In most cases, the Civil Service Commission follows the recommendations of the subject matter experts. On the Civil Service Commission website, a sample police sergeant written work sample problem has been provided for you. Make sure you read the whole document, the problem, reference, and sample response. After you have finished reading the sample problem, consider how the sample response was derived from the reference section. A hurdle, also known as a cut point, will be incorporated after the completion of Phase 2. All candidates will be invited to participate in the oral board examination, but only those that pass the cut point will have their oral board examination scored. Unless there's a tie at the cut point, the cut score will be set so a maximum of 80 candidates have their oral board scored. This represents the maximum number of candidates that can be realistically scored by assessors in a week. Phase 3, the oral board exam, is scheduled to take place October 21st, 2025, at 1111 East Broad Street. The targeted KSAO categories for this exam phase were listed in the job analysis section of this presentation. The task categories planned to be tested by the oral board phase can be seen listed here. Internal and external relations may be tested by the oral board phase depending on the specific nature of the exercises developed. The 2025 oral board exam will be video-based. The oral board exam will consist of 2 exercises. The exam will be administered throughout the day. For exam security, candidates will be sequestered. On test day, each candidate will be provided a 1-hour preparation period. Prior to the test day, you will receive an admission notice. The notice will be sent via email and include your scheduled arrival time. It's important to be on time for the exam, so plan for any traffic delays and aim to show up 15 minutes before your scheduled arrival time to assist with the check-in process. If you arrive after your scheduled arrival time, you will not be permitted to test. In order to maintain the security of the exam, the oral board exam will be administered to all candidates in one day. Those testing in the morning will be sequestered after their exam. Everyone testing in the afternoon will be sequestered before their exam. Those testing in the morning will be released from the sequester after the afternoon candidates have been secured. Also, due to the number of candidates anticipated, some arrival times in the morning could be very early, and some departure times could run into early evening. Since sequestering will result in longer hours on site, candidates are permitted to bring snacks, books, cards, etc. to pass the time in the sequester room. However, cell phones, smartphones, laptops, smartwatches, and any other electronic devices will not be permitted in the sequester room. On test day, bring your own printed copy of the reading list sources to the test site. There can be no extraneous or loose paper or added pages to the original source. You are permitted to write notes in your copy of the sources before arriving to the test site, but the notes must be on pages that are part of the original source. You are not permitted to write notes on any original source pages while at the test site. Before the exam, you will be provided a 60-minute preparation period. Use the prep period to prepare for both exercises. In the prep room, you will be provided an instructions handout, a handout for each exercise, pencils, a pen, and blank note paper. Again, you may bring your own printed copy of the reading list source materials into the prep room. A prep room monitor will let you know when your prep time has ended. You may then bring your prep period notes and the exam exercise handouts into the test room. Each oral board exercise will feature a job-related scenario that will be either a role play, structured interview, presentation, or some combination of these. Each exercise may include several questions or prompts. Be sure to respond to each as directed. Each exercise may include follow-up questions. If an exercise does include follow-up questions, they will be standard questions delivered to all candidates. This means that any follow-up questions will not be unique to your response. Follow-up questions may be included in the exercise handouts provided during the prep time, or may be provided only during the video portion of the exam. Providing questions only during the video portion aids in simulating interactions that occur on the job and the assessment of those associated behaviors. The 2025 Police Sergeant Oral Board exam will be video-based. What this means is that both oral board exercises will be administered as a single pre-recorded video. The scenarios and role players will be shown on screen. The video will be narrated throughout by a video narrator. Thus, there will be no live role players or in-room monitors. The pre-recorded exam video will include basic instructions, a basic practice scenario, both oral board exam exercises, a brief interval between the exercises, and exit instructions. The brief interval provides you an opportunity to review your notes for exercise 2 once more if you wish. Each exercise may include multiple response periods. Each response period will be timed. A countdown timer will be shown on the screen during each response period. The video narrator will also say when to start and stop. Anything said outside the timed response periods will not be scored. The countdown timer shows the time remaining during each response period. It appears at the start of each response period, then stays on screen throughout the response period. The timer counts down to 0 each time. The total response time per exercise will be 8 to 10 minutes. The actual total time per exercise and per response period will be announced on test day. You are not required to use the entire time allotted for each response. Scores are based on what candidates say and how they say it, not on whether all the time is used. A handout pertaining to each exercise is provided during the prep period. Each handout provides a summary of the following: the basic scenario, your role, to whom you'll respond, the number of response periods, and the length of each response period. The exam video also provides a brief practice question before the actual exam exercises begin. The practice question will be followed by a brief practice response period. The practice response period will be a 1-minute timed response. You are strongly encouraged to respond to the practice question on test day. Responding may help you feel more comfortable during the actual exam exercises. Your practice response will not be scored, and it will not be shown to raters. The video narrator will indicate when to begin and end each response. Respond as if the situation was live and in person. When prompted, speak directly to the on-screen role players. The role players cannot and thus will not respond to anything that you say. Your responses will be video recorded so they can be scored at a later date. Your performance will be scored in 4 different scoring dimensions: oral communication, interpersonal relations or supervision, problem analysis, and problem resolution. Each dimension concerns important knowledge, skills, and abilities needed to perform the job, including those needed to perform specific tasks featured in each exercise scenario. Your performance will be scored using a method known as behaviorally anchored rating scales, or BARS for short. Each scoring dimension uses a different BARS. Each BARS features a 1 to 9 rating scale, with 9 being the highest score in each dimension. Each of the BARS was developed in collaboration with subject matter experts from within the City of Columbus Division of Police. Each scoring board will consist of 3 raters. Each candidate will be scored by 2 video boards for each exercise. Thus, each candidate will be scored by a total of 12 raters separated into 4 boards. 2 exercises multiplied by 2 boards and 3 raters equals 12 raters. The assessors are police personnel from jurisdictions outside the state of Ohio. A paper inspection and video review for the oral board phase is scheduled for December 2nd through December 4th, 2025, at 1111 East Broad Street. This inspection and review is by appointment only. Details will be provided in the tentative results notice. There will be no appeals for the oral board phase. This is your opportunity to review your individual oral board results, including the video and copies of your score sheets. This review is designed for candidates to verify that their scores have been calculated accurately. You may invite and bring a mentor of your choice. However, the mentor must be in the rank of sergeant or above. Mentors must have not assisted in the development of the oral board phase of the exam. A sample of a role-play type exercise and handout will be posted on the Civil Service Commission website. This sample will give you an overview of what to expect and guidance on effective responses. There are many tools that candidates can use to help them prepare for the oral board exam. One tool that candidates may find useful is to develop scenarios and then have someone video record them as they respond. When candidates view themselves on video, they are able to see how others see them. Video recording is very helpful as candidates work to improve their speaking and presentation skills. Have a mentor view the video and give you feedback. Use the dimensions listed in the test guide to assist in the video review. Another tool is the exam test guide. It includes valuable information including a description of the oral board dimensions to help prepare you for this exam. Also, Be sure to review the questions and answers document posted to the Police Sergeant webpage on the CSC website. The question and answer document is updated as questions are received leading up to each exam phase. On test day, review exam instructions carefully. These are just some ways that may help you prepare. Overall tentative test scores are scheduled to be sent to you on November 25, 2025. The tentative results notices include your raw scores for each phase, your average oral board score by dimension, the high, low, and average for each phase, and your seniority points. There are no combined scores or rank on this notice. When the tentative results notices are sent, scoring is also verified by the FOP testing consultant. At this time, a list of candidate names and their seniority points is provided to the FOP for verification. During the tentative results period is your time to ensure that your scores are accurate, including seniority points. Candidates should contact civil service staff if they have questions about their scores or their seniority points so that civil service staff can verify the accuracy. Scoring is conducted in an objective manner in accordance with past practice and reviewed by the FOP testing consultant. For the final test results, scores are standardized, weighted, combined, and rescaled. Seniority points are only added to passing scores. Final results notices will include your final score and rank on the eligible list and will be sent to candidates on December 11, 2025. The eligible list will be established on December 12, 2025. Please be aware of all of the resources available to you to help you prepare for the 2025 Police Sergeant exam. If you have any questions during any point of the exam administration, please direct them as following. For questions regarding the overall 2025 Police Sergeant exam administration, please contact Jared Mogan. For questions regarding Phase 1, the multiple choice phase, please contact Christopher Jones. For questions regarding Phase 2, the written work sample phase, please contact Kayla Burke. For questions regarding Phase 3, the oral board phase, please contact Joel Gunn. Questions asked for which an answer has not been provided in materials already available to candidates will be added to the questions and answers document on the Civil Service Commission website so that all candidates will be provided with the same information. You are encouraged to check this document if you have questions, or if you would like to see if there is any clarifying or additional information provided to candidates at any time. We hope this presentation was helpful to you and wish all candidates well on the upcoming examinations. Thank you.